It's 1958, and Army coach Earl "Red" Blaik has a problem. He's an old school rock'em and sock'em type guy who threw a pass only when he had to, but he realizes he doesn't have enough good players to run 85 or 90 plays a game, banging away at 2 or 3 yards at a crack. Efficiency had declined toward the end of 1957, and so he comes up with an idea. At first, he calls it the far flanker. Then it's called the lonely end. Finally, after it's gained national attention, the media settle on the lonesome end. It's an oddity in offensive formations. Well, 10 Army players gathered in the traditional huddle to receive the play call, and Bill Carpenter would be positioned far away, typically 15 to 20 yards away from the main offensive formation, often stationed near the sideline like a flanker. This setup was usually part of an unbalanced line employed within either a wing T or a straight T formation. This physical separation was the signature of the lonesome end, immediately signaling to the defense that something out of the ordinary was afoot. Blaik, Army's legendary head coach, was already an icon, having won 3 national titles with 4 undefeated seasons. 1958 was Blaik's final season, and the wrinkle was, as he stated in the newspapers, the most interesting thing I've fooled with in all my years of coaching. Central to the scheme was William Stanley "Bill" Carpenter Jr., 6'2", 210 pounds, a gifted split end with exceptional football intelligence. Blaik called him the greatest end I ever coached at West Point. While 10 Army players huddled for the play call, Carpenter positioned himself 15 to 20 yards away, usually near the sideline. Carpenter never joined the huddle. How did he know the play? Through an intricate signal system. From the book When Saturday Mattered Most, The Last Golden Season of Army by Mark Beach, published in 2012, we get an explanation of the signals used. When Blaik returned to West Point, he quickly devised a system of signals for Carpenter. The far flanker's first look would be to the quarterback standing just outside the huddle. If the quarterback's feet were together, the play was a run, and Carpenter, according to his official orders in the Army playbook, was authorized to do as you please. When Caldwell stood with one foot in front of the other, the play was a pass. Carpenter would then look to the halfback, either Dawkins on the right or Anderson on the left, for another signal that would tell him the pass route he was supposed to run. If the halfback touched his chin strap, Carpenter would slant across the middle of the field. A hand to the eyes meant he was supposed to run a post pattern. Tightening the belt was a comeback route. Touching the thigh guard was a hook. A hitch of the pants was a deep fly route. It was simple. This put the defense into fits. The defense had to choose: single cover Carpenter and risk big plays, dedicate extra attention and weaken yourself against other threats, including future Heisman winner Pete Dawkins. Whomever covered Carpenter couldn't join in the defensive huddle, which threw off the defensive routine. If you were going to single cover Carpenter, you had to do it with your best defensive secondary player. So if Carpenter switched sides, that player had to switch sides too. Another complication that defenses then weren't accustomed to doing. Perhaps the lonesome end formation doesn't sound so odd to us now because we've seen every iteration of football, or so it seems. But back then it was unique, novel, and defenses didn't know how to handle it. Again, from When Saturday Mattered Most. During an early second quarter timeout, Army manager John Breyer was walking off the field with his arms full of water bottles when he noticed a set of Polaroid instant pictures on the ground at the feet of the Gamecocks players, who were absorbed in a heated discussion. They had become so caught up in the mystery of how Carpenter knew what plays were being called that they had not realized that the cadets were running their offerings from an unbalanced line until their coaches in the press box had sent down pictures to show them what was going on. We had been schooled and schooled and schooled to play a zone defense, and we knew exactly who we were supposed to key off of and so forth, says King Dixon. But when they flanked out that lonesome end, and he never went into the huddle, It really blew our minds. We were very structured in our defensive assignments out there, and our coaching staff in those days did not do very much to give us leeway on the field. We just got frustrated. The 1958 Army team went 8-0-1, earning the number 3 national ranking. Their only blemish was a 14-14 tie with Pittsburgh that likely cost them the national championship. Army led the nation in passing offense and ranked second in scoring at 29.3 points per game. Key victories included a 45-8 demolition of number 18 South Carolina, 26-0 shutout of Penn State, and a 14-2 road win against number 4 Notre Dame. 1958 was the last time Army beat Notre Dame. Carpenter caught 22 passes for 453 yards and 2 touchdowns, but his true impact was disrupting defensive game plans. This opened opportunities for teammates like Dawkins, who amassed 428 rushing yards and 494 receiving yards, keeping defenses honest with his dual threat ability. The offense worked because of its balance. Defenses couldn't focus solely on Carpenter while respecting Army's powerful running attack and Dawkins' big play capability. Army's defense was equally impressive, ranking 4th nationally in scoring defense at 5.4 points per game. This comprehensive excellence made their undefeated season possible. The Lonesome End's influence extends far beyond 1958. Modern no-huddle offenses also trace back to the Lonesome End's demonstration that players could operate effectively without traditional huddle communication. Today's spread offenses, with receivers split wide to create mismatches, descend philosophically from Blaik and Carpenter's innovation. The core concept, strategically isolating talented receivers to stretch defenses, remains a core part of contemporary schemes. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that Bill Carpenter's story extended beyond his football playing career. After West Point, he served multiple tours in Vietnam, earning the Distinguished Service Cross for calling in an airstrike dangerously close to his own position to save his company. He earned the nickname Napalm Bill, earning the Silver Star, Bronze Star, and multiple Purple Hearts. The 1958 team represents college football's last golden age at service academies before professional football began drawing elite athletes away. Their season marked the end of the Army's dominance but created lasting tactical legacy. The Lonesome End formation required perfect execution from Carpenter, who had to process signals, read defenses, and execute assignments while isolated from teammates. His uncanny ability to handle these demands made the system viable. Army's 1958 season and the Lonesome End formation exemplify how bold innovation, when paired with proper execution, creates an enduring football legacy. The Lonesome End was a phenomenon that changed football forever, showing that sometimes the most powerful innovations come from having the courage to stand apart from the crowd. Okay, that's a pretty cheesy ending, and I'm not apologizing for it. This is John Johnston with Hardcore College Football History. I hope you enjoyed this fantastic story about football history.